Hello and welcome to this video on the dashboard. In this video I'm going to demonstrate the dashboard, discuss each of the widgets and show how to customize and share your dashboard with other users. So let's get straight into it. Before I start, it's worth mentioning what the dashboard is. The dashboard is a customizable page with the primary goal of providing a visual status and overview of your company. It also provides several links to configuration and operation pages, and usually with the appropriate filters you were looking for. So here we are in SPC Connect and I'm logged into my demo installer account and I'm presented with the dashboard. The first widget I'm going to talk about here is the sites map widget, and we'll notice here that all the sites are located in the same place. If I'm to zoom in here now, you can actually see the icons, and there is a company icon and all the different sites. What's happened here is we've just upgraded from SPC Connect 2.9. The locations of these sites and the company is unknown. So the first thing to do really is to set the company location, and all the sites will appear as a grid underneath the company. To set the company location, I just left click on the company and click here on View Company Location Settings. I come in here and I can get a map of the world where I can suggest or I can move it. I'm just going to move it to Rome. I just type Rome and just zoom in. It will automatically zoom into Rome. I'm just going to zoom in some more there now, and I'm just going to set it to some place. We'll go here for the Colosseum in Rome. So I can right click here now and just go add company marker. So it'll now present my company as being in the Colosseum in Rome. Very nice. I save that and I can update the GPS or update the GPS and the address and the GPS. I'll click both. Now when I go back to my dashboard, you can see that the sites have all moved to the Colosseum here in Rome, but again they're in this grid fashion. So I can now set the GPS location of each of these sites. So I have the addresses here. I'm just going to set a few of them and I'll do the rest automatically. So for instance, if I come here to the Vanderbilt UK, I can click here and just go View Site Location Settings. And that now will move me to find the site location for the UK panel. So for this UK site, I actually know the postcode. So I'm just going to type the postcode in there and press enter. And that moves me to this location here. I can click on it and it will move the map so that the center of the map moves into Caldecott here. And I'm just going to set the GPS location to be around there. Add site marker. Again, I can save. It'll now ask me to update the GPS or the address of the GPS. I'm going to pick both, and that's the site address. I can go back to my company, and now the map is split between the two. I can jump into my company here and find the next site that I want to move. I'm going to move Vanderbilt, Spain here. For the Vanderbilt UK office there, I just searched by postcode. For Spain, I don't have a postcode. I'm just going to use this address that I have, and so I just type in the address and I hit enter, or the approximate address, and it'll do its best to find it. Now in this particular site, I might not be 100% sure where it is, but I know it's in here in Monte Claro. So I'm not 100% sure where it is, but I think it's in here somewhere. So I can just right click here and click on Google Satellite View, and this will bring an overhead view of the map. And as I go in there, I realize that I think this looks like it. I remember the car park, I was there. Yep, that's my site, which suggests it's here. Maybe then, just to double check, I can right click and go Google Street View. And as I zoom around, I do recognize that car park, so that is definitely it. So now I'm just going to right click here and just go add site marker, and then I can save and update the address and GPS. I can go back to my dashboard. Again, I'll go in now and get the next. I'm not going to do it for all the panels, but I want to show a few different ways to search. So for the Vanderbilt Ireland R&D site here, again I can go to location settings, and in this case I'm going to search by postcode again. In Ireland the postcodes are actually specific to a given property. So it will zoom in here, and because I added the postcode, it should move in, and there it is there, it's on the map. Add site marker and save. go back to my dashboard, move into my company here. The final one I want to look for is for Switzerland here, because I actually have the GPS coordinates for the one for Switzerland. So I'm going to move in here now and type in for Switzerland. So I've just typed in a pair of GPS coordinates. I hit enter and I can find them that. Really what I'm trying to show you here is the different ways you can search for the address. So it'll move in and the coordinates you gave will be in the middle of the map, so I'm just going to set it here and go add site marker and save. Update. So I just paused the video there for a second and I've added the rest of the sites here manually. So I think I'll quickly just explain what these markers means, these site markers. The site markers are made up of two parts, the outside or the perimeter and the inside. The outside represents the communication status, and there's three colours. There's green, meaning communications are okay, so all the sites here have green perimeters, so the communication is okay for these sites. Red means that the communications is down with the site, and then orange would mean that perhaps it's a multipath system. So that could be a single panel with more than one ATP, and one is up and one is down. Or it could be a site with two panels where the connection to one is up and one is down. But an orange indicates a partial communication fault. So the middle of the icon then displays the status of the alarm system, or the status of the site. So the status with the highest priority is an engineer on site. If there's an engineer on site, then the engineer on site icon will be displayed here. There's actually an alarm on that site, but the engineer on site, the engineer icon will overlay that alarm. If I want to display the alarm, if I go into the status of the site, I can see that the site is in full engineer mode. Once I take that out of full engineer mode, the panel will now, or the site is now an alarm. When I go back to the dashboard, I should see that represented by this red icon. Red represents alarm, and it's the second highest precedence in terms of what gets displayed. Next is alerts and faults, which is displayed by an orange, and after that then comes the set status. So it's either going to be unset here in green, it'll be full set here in orange, or a part set is kind of orange and grey, is represents a part set. See now our 11 sites on the map. The number of sites on the map is reflected here by this number here. I can click on that number and that will bring me to the multi-site status operation and show me the status of all the sites and the details. Down here then is all the different number of panels with different statuses. So for instance here it tells me that there's one panel in fault, there's none in alarm, there is one panel with the engineer on site, there's 2 panels unset and 8 panels full set. I can click into any of those and it'll go to the multi-site status but with a filtered view. So for instance if I wanted to see what panel was engineer on site, I can click on that, it'll jump into the number of all the panels that are engineer on site, and I can see that it's the Vanderbilt Sweden panel. If I wanted to remove the engineer, I could then log in from here and just exit engineer mode and return to my dashboard. Refreshing my dashboard then will change the icon so that the engineer on site is updated. The other thing to see here on this dashboard is the filter. The filter currently has a white middle and that tells that there's nothing filtered. If I was to bring in a filter, that will turn black once this is hidden. So for instance, if I again want to see the engineer on site, I can turn all the filters off and then only turn the engineer on site. And once I click the filter again, it goes black to show you that it's filtered. In fact, there is no panels with engineer on site because we removed the engineer on site from Stockholm there. If I was to pick a different one, which is maybe all the panels that are unset, you now see the filtered view and I can see the 3 sites that are unset. I can have multiple filters, so maybe I want to see the full sets, but full sets you might be treating part sets as full sets. So again I can select 2 here and hide the dashboard, and this shows me all the sites that are full set. Again, be aware that once there's a filtered selection, this number will change to reflect the number of sites being currently shown on the map, and this will go solid black to show that you've got a filtered view. In here now, if I remove the filter, it goes white. I could search for Ireland here, and it will show me as I search on the text box, it will filter the different sites that have Ireland in it. So there's a Vanderbilt Ireland site and a Vanderbilt R&D site. I can then click on them and it zooms into the particular sites, and we'll actually see the two sites here are right beside each other because they're really two sites for the same thing. Alternatively, I could type in UK, Vanderbilt UK, and it will now move to the Vanderbilt UK site. So you can move around the different sites here from this widget. Another powerful little icon here is the full screen mode. This is very suitable if you were to maybe drag this whole browser tab onto a dedicated monitor and then click full screen, and now you get a full screen view. If I'm quite zoomed in here, if I want to return to best fit, I can right click on the map and just go best fit view. That will bring you back to show all the different icons. If you want, there's other things here on the right menu like locate me, will move to where the browser thinks you are. Go to nearest site, we'll move to the nearest site, and you can zoom in and zoom out. That's usually easier with the mouse wheel. Alternatively, here is you've got links to Google Street View and Google Satellite View. I've already shown them in the adding of the sites. To return to the dashboard, I can just press escape and that will return to minimal. That'll minimize the screen. We can also plus and minus in here for zoom in and zoom out. That I'm just going to go best fit. So that is the sites map widget. So the next widget I'm going to talk about here is the multi-site status widget. The multi-site status widget is synchronized with the sites map widget, and essentially it performs maybe a more visual view of what's in this column here on the map itself. It is very useful. It can be used with the map or it can be used instead of the map. Essentially what it says is it will show you your 11 sites here. Clicking on that will move to multi-site status operation. It will then show you the number of panels that are in comms, fault, alarm or engineer on site. So we just have one panel that is showing a fault. I can click on that and it comes in and gives a filtered view of the faults, and it tells you the UK panel is experiencing a fault. Obviously by clicking on system summary there, I could go in and investigate. Then we have a pie chart and it shows the number of panels that are unset, part set or full set. The multi-site status will, be maintained live in the background. However, you may need to click the widget here to refresh the screen. On our on-premise versions, these can automatically refresh, and that's configurable, typically maybe every minute. On SPC Connect you will have to manually refresh them or reload the dashboard. If I was to go into one of these panels, for instance, let's say I wanted to take one of these sites here and maybe make it part set, I can go into my 8 sites. We'll say we'll pick here on the Dublin R&D site. I can click on the system summary, unset this site, and maybe we'll part set it instead and return to my dashboard. Now you can see that this is automatically updated based on the dashboard refresh, but the status was managed there through the event feed, so we do maintain a live update of these without having to refresh. Okay, I'm just going to go through the rest of the widgets now. This widget here, the quick links, is very straightforward. There's really just 4 buttons underneath it to bring you to 4 common operations: add site group, add site, register panel, and add DVR. At the moment these are not customizable, so you cannot choose your own actions to put there, but at some point in the future we would like to make them to be customizable actions. The panel firmware widget shows you the firmware version of all the panels in your system. It says there are 12 panels registered with the company. Now bear in mind here there was 11 sites. Do remember or do realise that when you go into those sites, one site, the Vanderbilt Ireland site, actually has 2 panels. This widget is the only widget that actually refers to panels and not sites, and that's because you're dealing with the firmware on the panels, and the panels is more interesting. So there are actually 12 panels in the company and they're all on version 3.11. If you click on this, it will jump into a view of the panels with a 3.11 filter, so it'll only show the panels here that are on 3.11 firmware. If I was to remove that, it will then, if I were to clear that filter, it will show all your panels, but they're all the same, they're all on 3.11. The next widget here is the favorite sites widget. Favorite sites are sites that you have indicated are favorite and that is specific to you, an installer. It is not a company favorites, it's an installer favorites. So sites maybe that you have an interest in, you can just mark as being favorite and they will appear here. To mark a site as a favorite, simply go to your sites, select a particular site, so let's say Vanderbilt Ireland here, and then click on add to favorite sites. That will very easily add it to the favorite sites and it will appear here. Vanderbilt Ireland will appear here. Favorite sites really just give you quick access to the summary, and also it gives you an event feed. So all events from your favorite sites will appear here in this event feed on the dashboard. The site and user widget gives a list of all the sites and users that have been registered on your company forever, but also in the last month. So here it tells me that there's 11 sites registered on the company and 11 have been registered this month. Also in terms of installers, there are 3 installers on the company and all 3 have been registered this month. In terms of system users, so these are users who are registered with panels that are being managed by our company. There's 3 system users that have been registered. We've looked at favorite sites. The final widget here on the dashboard is the sites group widget. The sites group widget displays a list of all the different site groups on the system. It tells you the number of sites in each, the number of panels in each, and the number of installers in each. And then you can click a quick link to the operations associated. Okay, so that's all the widgets on this dashboard. However, there are more dashboard widgets available that I just don't have selected. I'm just going to enable these now. They should appear at the bottom, which is audit trail and the config and remote maintenance. So once I add them, they'll appear down here in the bottom. The audit trail widget is just a brief overview, and it's filtered really for today, or it's filtered for the last number of audit items, but the most recent first. So it's all the different audit items that have happened, and it just appears in your dashboard. It's just good just to keep an eye on events. If somebody was to log in and you're wondering who they are, at least it'll appear in your dashboard. So the config and remote maintenance reports give us an overview of the latest config file and remote maintenance report on the system. So you can see here there's 11 sites enabled for config backups. Within this then, it then tells you that of the 11 sites, 8 are config OK and 0 have got config failed. If I click on the 11 sites, it will bring me in here, and you can actually see that there's 3 sites here which have not had a configuration file request for them. From here I can download a config file backup. These were just recently added, these sites. So once I do this and refresh, we will see the config files are in here and they're all valid. Now when I return to the dashboard, we will see that the config file now says that 11 config files are okay. In terms of remote maintenance, it is similar. Again, 11 sites have been configured for remote maintenance. In this case, 9 are report OK, 0 report fail, and then it tells you if there was some problems on the report. So again, we can go into our 11 remote maintenance reports. We can see here that again our Ireland and our Ireland warranty haven't had any config reports scheduled because they were added since the last schedule or the last manual update here. I can trigger a config file report for these sites, and if I refresh, they should come in shortly. So that's the first one in and the second one in. I can go back to my dashboard now and I can see that that's now up to 11. Again, there was no problems. There is one report that has an alert on the site. So if we wanted to see, well, what remote maintenance port was indicating an alert, I can click on this and it tells me that the Vanderbilt UK site has a report OK, but there's an alert on the site. I could navigate into that report and investigate now if I like. I'm just going to return to my dashboard now. And now I'd like to just show how to create a new dashboard. So to create a new dashboard, I click on Dashboard Options and just go to New. It asks me for the name, which I'm going to call My Dashboard. And I'm going to give it a type of dashboard here. So there's different options here in terms of columns. You've got 3 equal columns, which is what's already there. I prefer the 3 increasing column widths, or there's 2 increasing column widths. I'm going to create one with this type here. And I'm not going to share this dashboard at the moment. We can show what these mean in a minute. And I save that. So you get a new dashboard, there's no items. So I'm just going to click here and select all. And now I'm going to deselect some items. I don't want to have audit trail. because I'm going to put that on a different dashboard, and I don't want my favorite site events. I do want remote maintenance and my favorite sites. I'm not going to put in the multi-site status because I quite like that on the sites map. Some other people prefer that particular widget. Panel firmware, quick links, sites and user site groups and sitemaps I all want, so I save that now. It comes in and places them as best it thinks, but of course I'm going to rejig this a little bit just to suit my own needs. Personally, I like favorite sites at the top, so all these widgets are drag and drop. You can drag them anywhere you want, so I'm just going to drag favorite sites up here. I quite like quick links there, and I definitely like my sitemap there. The wider column just gives it a little bit of extra width. I like to be able to see my panel firmware and the configure remote maintenance reports on the main dashboard. These things here I am going to swap around, so I'm just going to move sites and site groups over to here because I think it fits a little bit better. As you can see, the text and everything shrinks slightly just to make the widget fit. And the sites and site users, I'm just going to move here. You can see that that black placeholder box hasn't come up. That's quite common on the bottom. What you might have to do is just jump up to get it and then jump down. So I can just paste that there. And now I'm quite happy with this dashboard. I'm just going to save the dashboard now. When I click on my dashboard over here, you can see that the standard dashboard has a little tick beside it. That means that it's the default dashboard. So this new dashboard I've created is not the default. It will allow me, so when I log in, it will come into the standard dashboard like this. And then if I want to see my dashboard, I can select it from there. In fact, I don't want the other dashboard, so I'm going to delete it, and I want to make this the default. So first of all, on this dashboard, which is the one I like, I'm going to set this as my default. Yes, it is. And the other dashboard, which is quite similar, I don't actually want it anymore, so I could just click on this now, go to my dashboard and delete, and it asks me, are you sure you want to delete the current dashboard? Yes, I am. So now I just have the one dashboard, which is my dashboard. So I am going to create a new dashboard here. I just click Dashboard Options and New. And I'm going to call it Audit and Event Feed. And this time I want it to be 2 columns wide. And again, in terms of sharing it, I do now want to share it with the other installers in the company. But I don't want to give them write permission because I don't want them maybe to add extra widgets. So I'm just going to give them read-only access to my dashboard, and I'm going to save that. Now I'm going to pick my columns, which is just audit trail and the favorite sites and the favorite site events, and I'm going to save that. So I want my audit trail to appear. Actually, I'll leave it there because I'm going to move favorite sites just above that, and then my favorite site events just below. So this is the dashboard I want to have. Now when I click on my dashboard, I can see there's 2 dashboards here. There's my dashboard and the audit and event feed. So I can just flip between these. So that's it for this video on the dashboard. I hope this video was of some help. Please do look at our other videos on SPC Connect on our YouTube channel. And I hope to see you again in the next video. So thanks for watching and goodbye.